Hey guys, this is Caspi with Tape, and today you join me for episode 4 of Fall of Kerbin, and today we start with a mission where the odds are stacked against us. I am sending in 3 Sparrowhawk 2s, which I launched last turn, to take on Penguin's almost entire air force of 7 planes. He has one more down in the south, but he's left almost all of his planes in one forward operating base. So my plan today is to knock them the hell out, and I only have 3 fighters I can assign to this because the planes I'm launching this turn are earmarked for other things. So yes, we are taking off from Osiris Fortress and flying across the ocean to Penguin's forward operating base, where we will meet their planes with furious anger and violence and gunfire, which you'll actually be able to hear this time because I left the audio on in the thing. Well, I just wasn't listening to anything, which made it really hard to see what was going on last time, but I've made sure that's not a problem this time. So yes, we will get our wing commander to fly us in to get us into formation. We'll be in our lead plane, and the other 2 should close formation. That one looks like it's a little too close, getting right underneath us. But yeah, Penguin hit us pretty hard last turn, so we're going to hit him much, much harder because he has some plans we need to kind of thwart. But anyway, yes, after a little while we get into a nice triangle formation, an arrow pointing to where we shall kill, where we shall take him down, and we get a rather nice shot of flying over the ocean. It does look quite nice with the scatterer mod, that's why the ocean looks so good, and just, yeah, planes getting all information, and then finally we do reach the land across the ocean. It does take a while to fly this far, especially in these planes. They're not particularly fast. Much faster than penguins, but, you know. Anyway, here we are at his forward operating base, preparing to release the fighters to dive and strike upon him once the enemies are taking off. And there they are. They should be in the air in no time, and we will get down on top of them before they can start firing at us, because that's our advantage, height and speed. We always have a speed advantage, but they have a bit of a maneuverability advantage. But I think if we can do some destruction early on, we should be fine, although you can see that my planes are already firing right now, and that has just no hope in hell of hitting, because they're too far away. So yeah, there's a lot of gunfire, but I doubt that will do much. But they have a lot of ammo, they're fine. They are limited to 1 box of ammo per gun, which I guess means they can technically have 2, because these planes have 2 guns. Maybe I should have thought of that. Anyway, so yes, I start diving as well, firing pointlessly and at nothing, because I just wanted to be firing the gun. And my engine has, you can see it's turned off because I was in a dive, and that was a problem for World War I fighters, and the fuel flow wouldn't work if you were diving down. But anyway, I'm just kind of trying to take a few pot shots at some of these fighters. Doesn't look like anything's really hitting. But yeah, we get on the tail of this one guy, but I'm still kind of shooting my aim, trying to shoot, and it's not going fantastically, so I brake high and left. See another Sparrowhawk fly over me and pull down into a rather... and then I start taking some fire, which is not great, because there are 7 of them. That's the problem, is yes, they're all grouped together, so I can destroy them all if I'm good, but 7 does mean that there's going to be a lot of gunfire. I get a few hits on me there, and that's a little bit problematic, and then another guy dives over me and hits me again, but none of these are hitting me for long enough to do any damage, which is fine. But I find myself flying here, pulling out of a dive, and I get some serious heat on that right wing, so I almost lose that, but it seems like I just managed to avoid it. And I'm trying to pick up Manfred's fighter, the Red Baron of sorts. And I want to take him down because he is, I think, Penguin's fighter ace, although I don't think he's killed 5 fighters yet. But eventually, after a little bit of chasing, I do get on his tail and start chasing him down, but I'm taking so much gunfire, which you'll see why later. But yeah, I'm trying to get my shots on target, and then after a while, after a lot of chasing, I finally get a successful hit. There's a nice explosion there. It doesn't look like he's dead, but there's smoke trailing out of him. And I'll just continue to open fire. He tries to break right, but I think his wings are a little bit messed up, so he's having trouble. But he does manage to pull out of that and not hit the ground rather well. Manfred is clearly a skilled pilot, but he has nothing on the glorious whatever my Kerbal is named. Obviously, nothing on the glorious me. But I just keep putting fire on him. I still haven't, wounded my... oh, we get another explosion, though. We get another good hit. And it looks like he is rather wounded. Maybe was that another explosion there? Yeah, you can see wing pieces falling behind him now. And I just keep the gunfire on him so that he dies. Because he must die, the evil fighter ace. But then, after a little while, I turn around and wonder why I've been fired at so much. And we have 3 planes on our tail. We've got 2 Tetrads there. And they have been really firing on me. So I'm just going to ignore them. And then you see there's a little bit of a glow on my guns. There is a hole in my left wing. And another one of my tail planes gets torn off. Something else explodes there. So I'm pulling away to try and escape. But then, out of nowhere, I crash into one of the attackers. And I start tumbling towards the ground, hoping that the attacker is as well. But I kind of hit the ground rather daintily, and I'm actually kind of fine. But you can see the shadow of Penguin's attacker, I've forgotten what it's called, a Captain, yes, also slams into the ground. And you can see Manfred's fighter over there just pulls out, but he should crash soon, because he clearly can't control himself without all of the things I shot off him. So yes, we did just lose a fighter, but we are now fighting 5 planes with 2 planes, so our odds are now worse. But we've taken down Manfred. We've kind of accidentally taken down an attacker, but my plane was, you know, heading for the ground anyway. So I take on to this fighter, and I will start attacking again, but we've got 2 more planes on our tail. They're really laying down fire. These are hard to escape from, and there are a lot of them. There are only 5 now, but I have 1 less plane, which puts me at worse odds. But I will surely dispatch the enemy, because, you know, it's only Penguin. And you can see I've selected a target here. It's firing at my only wingman now. The other one's on the ground. And I get on his tail, and after a little bit of chasing, I open fire, and I start getting some hits. You can see a good explosion there. I think that's probably a wing. You usually start by shooting off the wing. And I think he's going down, but then he manages to pull out. There's flames billowing out of his plane, but it is not enough. So I will not let up until he is dead. I actually find myself quite liking flying from the cockpit. And we do have the mouse aim flight mod installed, but I feel like that wobbles around too much. And I have done a lot of dogfighting in various series. There's another hit that's good, just with the mouse and keyboard, and I find that to be quite effective, as you will see, since I'm taking down my 3rd plane. Although the 2nd plane I took down was kind of an accident. It was just, I remember turning around being like, oh my god, what the fuck? But yes. We will just continue to fire until he is dead, which is my standard strategy. Yes, this is a very long dogfight. I have cut a lot out of it, because I think it was like a 30-minute piece of footage. And I think we finally get the killing blow. Yes, he is missing all of his right wing. Quite a serious hole in his right wing. I still don't know where the reference comes from. But anyway, so I am taking a little bit of fire. So my strategy, actually, when I'm being fired upon, is actually just to turn right into them. So I fly past them, and I brake right, he brakes left. Well, I guess he technically brakes right, which go in opposite directions. And I'll be able to hopefully get on his tail. So yeah, that works quite well. Just fly into the gunfire. It makes you a little bit at risk for a few seconds, but then you're gone. Anyway, and after a little bit of chasing, I managed to take this guy down too, quite swiftly, I have to say. I didn't have to cut out much of this. He dies rather quickly as I just kind of locate him and kill him. Yes, I start to hone my aim during this turn. I think I should be a fighter race in no time, although I think I've already taken down 5 fighters in total. But I think this is my 4th plane I'm taking down, so that means there's only 3 left in the air, so I'm really balancing the odds pretty quickly. Anyway, that guy isn't dead, but I was taking too much fire to really worry about him. And he may go down at some point. It's hard to say. But we pick up another fighter who appears to be firing at our wingman. We'll have none of that, so we will unleash the 30 calibers. Very quickly getting some explosions. That was a good shot. Probably a lucky shot, but I have to say, very quickly dispatched that one. Yeah, there were a few where I just kind of tore them apart quite quickly. And you see him fly right over my cockpit, but he seems to be alive, which is rather worrying. Because that means there's still more planes in the air. And I'm taking a little fire from behind me, so I take my standard approach of turning into the gunfire, so he only gets a few seconds to shoot at me. We almost collide, but I do think that I probably should save this plane. And then I'm going to try and pull around on his tail. And a little later, here we are, just catching him up, and I'm just going to start opening fire once again. But yeah, these are quite maneuverable planes, but I just think that they're too slow for... Oh, and this guy goes down for a weird reason. He just sort of crashes. I think he's trying to be awesome, and then boom! So I didn't really get that kill, but I totally forced him into the ground. In Operation Desert Storm, a lot of Iraqi MiGs just kind of hit the ground because they're day fighters, I think the ones they were using. So yeah, it's a legitimate strategy. And I think that's happening with this guy, but he does manage to just pull out in time. That was a crazy maneuver, but I am now on his tail. that did not help him escape. I am taking fire, but I'm not too worried because, well, I mean, what are they going to do? They're only tetrads. So I'm just trying to lock in my aim, firing a few shots, but then, oh no, okay, I'm getting really close to him. Oh, there we go, there goes one of the wings. He starts to tumble a little bit, and we are in really close quarters, and he is slower than me, so I'm going to have to start to weave if I want to stay behind him. I know I can throttle down the engine, but that didn't occur to me, shut up. And I shoot off another wing, and he is now but a biplane. He is now on my level. He must come down and fight with me in the dirt as a biplane. Because, you know, triplanes look kind of cooler, but they're clearly less effective. I mean, look how many are dead right now. It went 3 on 7, and there's only 2 left, and I've maybe lost 1, because there were so many. What was I going to do? So I think the 7 fighter strategy probably did help a little bit, but I mean, it only took down 1 plane so far. And I'm trying to fire upon this guy, but I'm starting to get some serious hits from behind me, and I really don't want to lose this plane, because I'm kind of running out of aircraft right now. So I pull out, do a nice little split S, or something akin to a split S, and try to get behind this guy. Do my standard strategy again of turning towards him. But then I really quickly pull out so I can get right behind this guy. The AI flight computer clearly isn't very smart. It is clearly not a sentient AI yet. That intends to kill us all. And that'd be really bad if it figured out how to fly planes and then was like, I'm gonna kill you. But anyway, we are not worrying about the AI wars. We are worrying about the Kroll and Cathenia war, of course. So, I'm just gonna pull up, get my guns on target. I'm just gonna lead the target a little bit and open fire, tear him apart, and watch him tumble into the ground. Well, hopefully, maybe I'll put it down a little more fire on him because, well, we want him dead. We want him nice and dead. And then I think it'll be 2 on 1, the first time I actually have a numbers advantage, which will be rather nice. Not that it makes a difference because I am such a fighter ace, of course. And I'm just leading a few shots, trying to pull him down. There's another explosion, and he should hit the ground anytime. There we go, tumbling, side-slipping, trying to fight it, but he just can't. He has an unbalanced amount of lift, and he shall surely slam right into the ground. Oh, he pulls up. What a son of a... So I was having none of that, so I turned to shoot him again, but he does hit the ground. Yeah, anyway, so it is now 2 on 1 for the advantage of me. So now I'm going to go and take down this final plane, which is a biplane now, so I should have no problem. I'm just checking the other fighter. He seems fine. And we're going to go tear this guy apart, because, well, we can't have him stealing our biplane technology. Although his wings are higher up, so it's probably not advantageous to him, actually. So we probably have all of the advantage right now. Yes, you can see that right there. His wings are too high. He probably loses maneuverability from that. I've kind of forgotten how lift works. But anyway, it should be no problem. Even if he were in a full-on triplane, we would quickly dispatch him. But it has made him quite fast. Anyway, we tear off a wing, and he tumbles towards the ground in a plume of smoke and fire, in a fireball of death. And then he slams into the ground, and the day is ours, gentlemen. We have won. Yes. We took down 7 planes and with a cost of 1. Not bad at all. So anyway, let's go land. Let's go take this forward operating base for our own to stop Penguin advancing. Because we cannot have that. We cannot have him coming up here and taking our jobs. I mean, taking our land. So we're just going to land on the runway using reverse thrust on the engine to slow down. Because the brakes are a little bit flip the plane forwardy, even though all of my fuel's in the back. But yeah, we land nicely, and this is ours. We're just going to get the other plane on the ground, and all will be good. So yes, that was quite successful. When I was flying in, I was like, this can't possibly go well. But I think the kind of massive advantage to the person actually flying the planes will kind of abate in World War II, which will be at turn 10. By the way, at turn 10 we are advancing onto World War II technology, just if you didn't know. And yeah, I think that'll abate a little because the planes will be faster, and that works better with the AI flight computer. Anyway, down in the south, we have another important mission to do. We are with the USS Liberty, which I believe was a ship in the real world that sank, and the USS Centauri, our glorious, victorious cruiser. And we are taking on a battleship. Yes, Penguin has left his battleship all alone in the south, trying to guard his forward operating base in the gates of hell. Well, we will send him right into hell. Launching our destroyer and our cruiser forward, we are going to try and get as many shots off with our cruiser and try and use some of the torpedoes on the back of this destroyer to try and sink that battleship, which I've forgotten, USS Mindmaker? Sorry to the actual person Mindmaker, but I gotta sink you, bro. So yeah, I don't actually have burn together on these ships because I'm stupid, but I actually don't want it in this case. I want the cruiser to go ahead because that needs to take the majority of the gunfire, right? So that I can get in and pop off my my torpedoes. But anyway, here we are getting much closer, just preparing the guns, and it looks as if the Centauri is about to fire. There we go, it fires its first shot. It gets the first shot in, which is rather nice. And at first it really looks like the Mindmaker just isn't firing, but it turns out its guns, although they are very high powered, and you know, they have 15-inch shells, whereas the Centauri has 8-inch shells and the Liberty has 5-inch shells. It fires so slowly, and the guns turn really slowly, so it doesn't fire for a very long time. And I get a little worried, so I switch to it just to make sure everything's working. Guard mode is on. It is a rather deadly looking ship, but it'll be a rather dead looking ship pretty soon. Hopefully, at least. Anyway, but it looks as if it is actually going to fire, and we see its guns fire. It only has 2 pointed forward, but it does make it a harder target. And it appears to be firing at the Liberty, which is weird because that's the further target. Luckily, the shells kind of just miss because it was its first shot. You never get an accurate first shot in this game with guard mode. So we live to fight another day. This should be opening fire pretty soon with its small guns. It'll do a little damage, but I'm thinking the Centauri will do most of the gun-based damage until I can get close enough to use those torpedoes. But yes, there we go, firing our 5-inch guns to do a little damage. The Centauri has had its firing rate cut back from my first mission because it was way too high, but it is still just so much faster than the Mindmaker right now. But you can see there's a few more shells heading at us, the telltale glow of shells coming for our destruction, which, wow, they take a really long time to travel. Yeah, there we go, and one of them slams right into us. But it seems like that, surprisingly, because it was only one shell, managed to be withstood by the armor withstood the shell. If it had been all three, I think it would have been fine. But I think the real problem here is it's firing too infrequently, and also it's firing at the destroyer, which is a tiny target, so it can only ever get like one shell on target. So yeah, it looks like we're doing some damage. Nothing's exploded yet because it's a freaking battleship. So we were firing for a long time, so here we go, cutting ahead to the next time I get fired upon. And yeah, they go right underneath me and just tear the back off. You can see all that explosions. That's all of my ammo. I have no more reserve ammo. It's torn off the back of my ship. If you actually get a close look there, you can see that the back is just totally torn off. I think it may have even taken out my engines. That annoyingly isn't like a cool sinking shot, but that was incredibly destructive. It was just ridiculous. It just, the back of my ship isn't even attached anymore. And you see that thing that's still heating up? Weapon manager. This ship's almost dead, even though it's not sinking. Which is a shame, because I'd like to see it sink. Well, I'd like to see it not broken at all, but if it's going to die, it better sink. But anyway, the Rapier class, still doing rather well. The Centauri, it looks like we've actually caused some serious damage now. You can see there's a plume of smoke, and there are pieces lying everywhere, but I think it's still firing. Yes, it fires again. Fire again, fire everything. And it does fire everything, doing a final death blow to my cruiser, to my destroyer even. It doesn't look that destructive, but it's destroyed my depth charges, and soon that weapon manager will pop, and we will have a problem. And I think it also took off my engines. So this has no engines, no reserve ammo, and soon to have nothing that can tell it to fire its guns, which is a problem. And there goes another. They look like they miss, actually. Just too inaccurate. Should have been firing at the cruiser. I reckon it would have sunk the cruiser. But luckily it fired at the wrong ship. And destroyers have always been a problem for battleships. You can't leave a battleship by itself. But yes, it looks as if I get a final shot which really tears it apart. And you can see it is really... I think it's tipping to its left now, taking on water. And everything is just destroyed. It looks as if it is still firing. But it will just... Well, it's going to take a bunch more shots and finally just kind of explode into nothing. I don't think it's sank because we have the air park mod to stop ships just randomly exploding. But there it is. Just a pile of rubble on the ocean. So yes, that is Penguin's battleship destroyed. for the cost of one destroyer, which is a rather... I'll pay that. And the destroyer is still there. It just doesn't work. Yeah, I think that weapon manager does blow up at some point. But anyway, what I didn't notice was Penguin's, not Tetrid, what is it? The Captain was actually taking off from the forward operating base, trying to attack me. And yeah, so the cruiser's going to quickly dispatch that with a huge amount of flak fire. And this cruiser has really effective flak. It stopped Penguin bombing my destroyer last turn, which is lucky, because I wouldn't have won if I hadn't had the destroyer to take all the fire. It wasn't my plan. Obviously, I was going to use the destroyer to actually take out the battleship, but hey. I tried taking this down with the main guns, but you can see the weapon manager is destroyed now, so I can't really put it on guard mode, and I'm not a particularly good shot for anti-air, but I do take a few shots anyway. I don't think this plane even has bombs, so maybe it'll try and 30 cal me, but you can see it finally, takes a few hits and starts to fall. It could not take on a full cruiser by itself. Yes, the Centauri, victorious again. It has taken down a battleship now, and yes, it was supported, but it survived. The Centauri anyway, I placed the Centauri in this island chain, defending this forward operating base, which I guess is now mine, and if Penguin disagrees, feel free to try and take off from here, man. But yes, pointing forward so that it will be in a defensive position when Penguin comes down here. But yes, a very successful mission. And we're going to move our battleship down a little more, which is also escorting our supply ship after this supply ship was actually strafed last time. They want some support, so we're leaving the battle axe, the USS Jupiter, with it to defend it. And that will be down in the island chain very soon. And it will be guarded by, obviously, the cruiser, the Centauri, the most deadly ship on the high seas. Anyway, talking of deadly ships, Penguin has launched a fleet armed with loaded with tanks and supply vehicles with the intention of landing near Osiris Fortress next turn. He has 2 tanks and 2 supply units. We believe he intends to set up a forward operating base and send in the tanks. So, we need to stop him. Our ships can't get there in time, and yeah, that would have really helped if we could have used our ships. That would have really solved this problem. I mean, we've hit Penguin pretty hard already, but this was a sneaky move, Penguin. This was, I don't want to say smart, but yeah, it was a smart move. That pains me. But anyway, we do reach it with our attacker. Now, this is loaded with an interesting bomb payload. It's got 5 100-pound bombs, which will do nothing to ships, or tanks, really. But it also has 1 500-pound bomb, so that it's max bomb capability. But basically, I'm going to use the 5 100-pound bombs as cannon fodder to try and, get the AA guns shooting at them, so I can drop the 500-pound bomb and hopefully take out some of Penguin's vehicles. But annoyingly, when I fly in here, I tried this a bunch of times actually. When you fly in there, all of the vehicles on deck explode because of various physicsy glitches. And I know they were air parked, but I think air parking only really works if you're actually on the ground in the water. But anyway, I'll just try and sink the ships, and I think one of Penguin's tanks is still there, so I'm going to try and destroy that as well if I can. But yeah, we're going to go into a nice dive. We're going to start releasing 100-pound bombs. There go 2. Going to just keep dropping them, and then try and get that final 500-pound bomb in there to try and do some damage. I don't think it'll do damage to a ship, which really sucks. I would have loved to take out some of Penguin's vehicles, but the glitches make it kind of impossible. Anyway, all the bombs have been released. The AA guns are doing basically nothing, and they all kind of slam into the deck. But that's basically no damage. Now they turn their attention to me. There's lots of explosions, but that's just flak explosions, and it doesn't seem very effective. I think the AA guns on my cruiser, the Centauri, the most deadly ship on the seas, is actually more effective, despite what I think the mod developer ASEA told Penguin. So clearly ASEA secretly is a Cathenian, just like, oh yeah, these work great, man. So thank you, dude. Anyway, I'm not happy with that. The ship was fine, I checked it, there was no damage, so we're gonna kamikaze this mother. I'm gonna load up the 30 caliber machine guns. I'm gonna fire at the ship, which will do nothing because it's a freaking cruiser. I mean, a terrible cruiser. I mean, I sank this with the Centauri, but then the Centauri also sank a battleship because it's the most deadly ship on the seas. So we're gonna open fire, and we're gonna crash right into it. We're gonna sink this goddamn ship, or at least maybe take out that tank, or do something. The AA gun's doing literally nothing. Seriously, Penguin, get your shit together. I crashed right into the bridge, tearing off the bridge. I think I probably would have destroyed one of those supply vehicles. I guess you can't really prove it, so I guess Penguin can keep it. But if he was feeling nice, which he won't be, I totally would have destroyed that. But the destruction on that was mostly from it just exploding. Anyway, the bridge rips off. A bunch of the bridge mount rips off. One of the pipes rips off. We do some damage there, but it's superficial. This boat, this ship, well, it's too small to be a ship. This boat can still work. So that was a bit of a failure of a mission. So, yeah, that is the reason I'm only launching 2 tanks to take on Penguin's tanks today, because I need the other one for a bit of defense. So we are launching 2 tanks from Valley's Guard to try and take out Penguin's tanks at his forward operating base. He has 2 there, I'm going to send in 2. These are light tanks, these are my new light tanks, which are still a little ugly because they're sort of still prototype-y. But anyway, after a lot of driving, well, vessel maneuvering, we get into 10-kilometer range. And actually, because of the nature of this ground, there's a nice dip, so we can get to almost within a kilometer, which gives us a massive advantage because one of Penguin's tanks has a much smaller but longer range machine gun, which means we can take it out because we have 2 big machine guns. We'll have the firing advantage, and I think we probably have we're probably equally matched on kind of durability now. But anyway, it starts. Penguin's tank starts shooting first and really tearing apart this at the front. I'm trying to fire back, but my guard mode wasn't doing it, so I'm having to do it manually. This one kind of falls apart, but you can see the other tank has already destroyed Penguin's one on the left. And while I'm trying to hastily switch to it, it just starts laying waste to the other one as well, because it's in quite a good position. It's down a hill, the gun's just over the ridge. It does take a bunch of fire, but when I switch to it, the firing abates because both of Penguin's tanks are dead. That happened incredibly quickly, and our tanks are basically in ruins, but they are here. They are both functional. This one's sort of okay-ish, and they should defend this for a while. So that's good. We took back this forward operating base. 2 more of Penguin's vehicles dead. And he has 1 more tank. We can't let this stand. So we're sending out an attacker from our glorious forward operating base near the Penguin region, which we took this turn. I'm just checking the fighters for some reason. And I'm going to fly over there, and I'm going to bomb out that tank. And hopefully also get the supply vehicle, but mostly just the tank. So yeah, we'll just get here, we're going to try and do our standard dive bombing thing, because Penguin just seems to be so lucky with his bombings. He seems to just be able to drop bombs normally, and they just all land. So I'm going to just drop a couple bombs there, and then do my standard dive bombing thing, and try and put some bombs on target. Because that's the only way that seems to work for me. I think Penguin is cheating somehow. Anyway, the firing starts to open up. Penguin has learned his lesson to not escort his... he didn't escort his... supply unit last turn, so he has this turn. But that will be foolish, because now I can drop a bomb right in the middle of them, fly on out of there, and destroy them both. That's a glorious scene. That was such a great... I got so close to the ground, and they both just kind of popped. So yes, I think that's rather good. A little bit of 30 caliber fire later, and then we just got to leave, because this has been a long episode. I've done a lot of destruction, so we're just getting out of here. And we're going to fly on home. I was originally going to fly to the forward operating base I came from, but I'm not leaving all of my planes in one place. I'm staring right at the screen as if I was staring at Penguin like he was a fool. So I just put it down where I destroyed the tanks, as you can see here. These are what's left of Penguin's tanks. There was so much lag I didn't bother putting the footage in because it would be so slow, and this is already a long episode. But yes, we have 2, probably about a tank and a half there. Which should defend this for a while unless they get shot in the front, but that's fine. Yeah, I think we're good, and this will stay here guarding as well. Nice and distributed forces along the northern valley, which is rather good. And now we just need to move up our fleet, because next turn we will engage Penguin's fleet. We will tear them apart. We are sending 3 cruisers: the USS Springwood, the USS Sierra, USS Rockdale? No, USS Osiris, USS Springwood, USS Sierra, the USS Mercury, and the USS Defiant. I remember them all! 2 destroyers, 3 cruisers, and when Penguin reaches our shores, we will reach him, and we will tear him apart. He will land next episode. He will get his tanks off, and we will have to fight him on the beaches, basically. But yes... We have a good fleet heading up here. I've launched 2 more destroyers there. 2 more cruisers, as you can see here. This is our entire home fleet, which has the deadly Rapier class cruisers, and they're named after my cities today. Springwood, obviously one of my city Skyline series, which is now a city in this, and Osiris, the place where we are defending. So this should reach their next turn. and it should be victorious over Penguin. So that's rather glorious. Yes, he will not get far. Trust me. And on the subject of him not getting far, we're going to place our final light tank today on this hill in front of Osiris Fortress, because I think Penguin will be heading right for here. So I've mounted up my tank on top of this hill, so it has a good kind of field of view, and it can shoot everything it needs to shoot. So yeah, I think that'll be useful for defending Penguin. So he won't defending from Penguin, so he won't be able to pull his trick of shooting down my plane first. He'll get here, and it's tilted down so that it has a better kind of view of all of the ground. But yes, we will defend this land from Penguin. He will land next turn. He'll have 2 tanks, but we'll just bomb the shit out of him. He is going to build some forward operating bases, so I guess he might have some planes. But, well, that's super lame. Anyway. But yeah, and we also have an attacker left, because we used 1 to bomb Penguin's tank and supply unit, 1 to kind of crash into a ship, and 1 just to sit here defending. It's loaded with 4 250-pound bombs, so when Penguin's tanks roll over the shores, roll over the ridge, this will take off and drop some bombs on it. Hopefully, I think guard mode can do that. And there are also the 40mm emplacements here, which will hopefully be able to just tear apart anything that comes anywhere near us. I mean, they're 40mm guns, the same guns I use on the Centauri, and we've seen how effective those are against Penguin's Captain, and last turn, actually, I think the same Captain had an encounter with the Centauri in Penguin's turn. And yeah, what's this? Oh yes, this is the tank that I sent down last turn. But I've actually moved it back up to escort my supply unit, because you gotta support your supply units, man. You gotta escort them down, and we're gonna build a bridge. And we own this island chain now. The gates of hell belong to us. Penguin has maybe a couple of destroyers he can send down against my cruiser and soon to be my battleship. So he'll fail. This is ours. So we're going to send down, we're going to build a bridge, and we're going to start moving in through the south, which is rather nice. And the final things we have to do this episode are launch another supply ship heading up for the fleet, which is going to tear apart Penguin. I'm gonna cut his ships up with huge guns and awesomeness. Yes, they are the sister ships of the USS Centauri, so I'm sure Penguin's Navy is probably quaking in their boots right now, hearing the rumors that the Centauri is taking down both a cruiser and a battleship, that they will be facing the same kind of firepower. Yes, they will surely fail. But we will need a supply ship to refuel them so they can get back wherever they need to go. And we need to launch another supply ship down to the island chain for building bridges and refueling ships and just generally killing penguins. Because, yeah, that is the goal, tear apart the Corolans. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. We've done a lot of destruction today. I think we've really hit Penguin as hard as possible without actually stopping his invasion, which is annoying, but we'll deal with that when we come to it. And yeah. So anyway, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you want to go check out a couple more videos, there's my latest episode of my KSP career mode, in which I kind of fail at solar panels and remote tech. You gotta think about that shit. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, and also there is my latest episode of Spore, which is we become a space explorer, and we realize that the space stage of Spore is definitely the weakest. And there are also links to my Twitter, Twitch, and Patreon in the description if you're interested. I will see you next time.